Charte d'Auroville. Auroville n'appartient à personne en particulier. Auroville appartient à toute l'humanité dans son ensemble. Mais pour séjourner à Auroville, il faut être le serviteur volontaire de la conscience divine.
The project of Auroville, which was conceived by the mother, who was the spiritual collaborator of India's great seer and great revolutionary, Sri Aurobindo, was inaugurated on 28th February 1968. On this occasion, about 5,000 people representing different nationalities and states of India gathered near the banyan tree. Representatives of each country put soil from their homelands in the urn at the center of the amphitheater.
Auroville is perhaps one of the only places in the entire world, or perhaps in the entire human history, when we see the development started when there was no resources as such. Most of the development of the cities and civilizations have come near water. This is one of the only place where there was no water. So the development exercise here started with the creation of a living environment first. This we need to understand, and this is one of the most remarkable aspect of development in Auroville.
Il y a surtout justement la question financière intérieure, n'est-ce pas? Je voudrais qu'à l'intérieur d'Auroville, il n'y ait pas d'argent. Que l'argent soit gardé seulement avec les relations avec le dehors.
What we try to do is to keep in focus the main objective, where Mother says, the Aurovillians should be provided with what they need for their daily life, and they give their energy to Auroville. I mean, the idea behind is that each individual is free to develop their own inner being, which actually what we have come here for, to have the time to dedicate themselves to their inner development through their outer work, which is a very important part in our yoga here. But to be able to do that without having to think of how I make ends meet. Now this is the ideal. We are not there. We are still, many people have to still think of how do they meet their ends every month. I mean, we all grew up in certain patterns, you know, which are so deeply ingrained. To get out of those patterns is extremely difficult. And that's part of the yoga, part of the work we have to do here, to let go of all these things, no?
The center where we are, just at the entrance, is called Purtus Distribution Center. It comes from the idea of Purtus that was created in the time of the mother, of course. And it was the center which will provide the food and toiletries and house needs for Aurovillians. This idea comes also because the mother gave clear indications that Aurovillians will work for Auroville, and in return Auroville will take care of them. But still it is an experiment, and it is an experiment which has brought a beautiful aspiration up, and which has made Aurovillians believe that it is possible to do things in different ways.
Oui, je m'appelle Vidia, je suis à Auroville depuis 1979, fin 79, et en fait j'ai toujours travaillé dans les services. Donc j'ai même travaillé dans le premier Nandini, c'est là où le nom a été donné, c'était en 84. C'était une toute petite expérience inspiration, mais qui a démarré en même temps dans le centre. Et puis par faute d'argent, ça s'est arrêté après quelques années. On a oublié. En 1994, il y avait déjà l'idée de mettre pour les Aurovilliens ce qu'on appelle l'économie en kind, c'est-à-dire qu'on reçoit des maintenances et on voulait éviter que les Aurovilliens reçoivent du cash. Donc déjà, c'était là, à cette époque-là, de donner le plus possible les services en nature. Donc Nandini a été démarré dans cet esprit-là, parce que ça fait partie des services basiques en fait, entre la nourriture, les vêtements et le housing. Si on couvre ça, on couvre déjà la base de nos besoins. On peut dire que ça fonctionne bien. C'est pas facile, il faut vraiment surveiller un peu. Il y a eu toute une éducation au début qui s'est faite avec une certaine partie de la population qui cherchait à profiter peut-être un peu plus ou qui ne comprenait pas vraiment l'esprit du service. Mais ça s'est bien mis en place et maintenant on a très peu d'abus.
L'avenue d'Auroville is the newly formed planning and urban design organization of Auroville, wherein architects and planners have been working to develop and construct the township. It extends its services through presentations and inviting community feedback on various aspects of development and how it relates with the galaxy concept as developed by Roger Angers, the chief architect appointed by the mother.
If we see from our, I would say, present state of mind, our present state of consciousness, of course everything will be seen as paradoxical, complex, challenging. But on the other hand, if we remain open, I would say, if we remain open to the grace of Mother Aurobindo, it is very much possible, and we have many examples of something like this in Auroville, how a handful of people in 1968, what environment has been created here. For me, Auroville still remains one of the most remarkable and inspiring story of human endeavor. So seen from that angle, I have no doubt that Auroville will keep on working and moving on that path, and with the wisdom and experience which Auroville will acquire over a period of time, they will only help to create this society as a better place. This is the city area where the proposed population is approximately 50,000 people. One can see here there are 4 zones in the city area. Yellow one is residential, cultural, industrial and international, which are joined by Crown, and Crown is a mixed land use development connecting all the 4 zones. And in the center we have Peace area, which houses Matre Mandir, gardens and the lake.
The Matre Mandir is the symbol of the Universal Mother according to Aurobindo's philosophy. This is the first thing. On one side you have the physical mother, which was in Pondicherry, and here we have the symbol, the representation, something strong, powerful, real, which is the Universal Mother. When you see the crystal, it is a place of, I would say, of concentration and not meditation.
C'est aujourd'hui qu'on commence ce premier jardin. C'est un mouvement qui était attendu depuis longtemps. Il y a eu plusieurs tentatives au fil des années qui n'ont jamais abouti. On n'a jamais pu commencer vraiment ces jardins. Aujourd'hui, c'est un aboutissement puisqu'on commence le premier jardin qui est le jardin Existence. Les 3 premiers jardins sont prêts. Existence, Conscience, Ananda, Satchit Ananda. Et le premier coup de pioche, si je puis dire, va commencer dans une demi-heure où on va commencer à tracer le jardin sur le site. Donc c'est un jour particulier, quand même un jour mémorable. Alors le concept de ces jardins est venu évidemment à la suite de Roger Angers qui voulait des jardins qui soient des joyaux, que chaque jardin soit un joyau dans un écrin. Et c'est quelque chose à quoi il tenait beaucoup, et ça vient d'une conversation qu'il a eue avec Mère, je crois, en 1969, où elle disait quelque chose comme ça, que ces jardins seront comme des joyaux vivants tout autour du Matre Mandir. Et je crois qu'il a gardé ça, Et au fil des années, il a gardé ce concept de joyau. Donc on est parti là-dessus. Donc chaque jardin est concentré. Le joyau, c'est la quintessence du jardin, de la signification du jardin. C'est quelque chose qui est concentré dans le jardin, qui n'est pas immédiatement visible. Et chaque jardin, chacun des 12 jardins sera un joyau. Et les 12 jardins feront en quelque sorte un collier de joyaux. D'ailleurs, on a utilisé le chemin de ronde qui connecte les 12 jardins comme un symbole d'unité, puisque ce chemin de ronde sera matérialisé par un fil d'or qui sera réalisé avec les petits carreaux d'or identiques au disque du matrimondir.
You see, there are two types of people who come to Matri Mandir. We have the visitor center who receive these people who come as day tourists or day trippers who come and want to see this golden globe and take photos, etc., and go back. And then you have others who come because they really want to do a meditation inside. So for these people, we have a system whereby we ask them to first acquaint themselves with the vision of the mother and to know what is the project of Auroville. So we ask them to come and see the videos and exhibitions at the visitor center, and then only after having understood what this project is all about, to decide and choose whether they want to go inside and do a meditation or concentration. Mother said it's a place for concentration. Somebody gives them a briefing about the architecture, the significance of Matri Mandir, what they can or they cannot do inside.
You can think of Auroville as a circle of about 2.5
and then take them inside for a concentration of 15 to 20 minutes.
While the richness and vibrancy of cultural life is evident in the whole of Auroville, the cultural zone is that focal point of institutions and research centers which resonates with the vibration of education, arts and sports. As Sri Aurobindo points out, the perfection of the body, as great a perfection as we can bring about by the means at our disposal, must be the ultimate aim of physical culture. Perfection is the true aim of all culture, the spiritual and psychic, the mental, the vital, and it must be the aim of our physical culture also. The different schools of Auroville are inspired by the vision of Sri Aurobindo and Mother. According to Sri Aurobindo, the first principle of true teaching is that nothing can be taught. The teacher is not an instructor or a taskmaster. He is a helper and a guide. His business is to suggest and not to impose. The second principle is that the mind is to be consulted in its own growth, and it is the child himself who should be encouraged to expand and grow in accordance with his own nature. And thirdly, one must proceed from the near to the far, since real knowledge only grows from personal experience.
CRIPA project, that's CRIPA, that's the Center for Research in the Performing Arts. The overall project is a multi-crore project. It will have separate spaces for music, theatre and dance, including probably a small library, seminar rooms, practice rooms, even space for visiting people to be accommodated, things like this. So it's a very, very large project.
The building right now, which we're building, is about 550 square meters with a 300 square meter wooden floor area, and the entrance lobby and some very basic services. That kind of constitutes the building at the moment. It's a RCC frame structure with the infill walls in aerocon block, and it's got a fairly high ceiling, mainly for acoustic reasons and because it's used by dance and things like that, especially for the area. That was kind of the volume which was required by the building.
It's been placed here next to Kalabumi, actually because of the infrastructure that's available, and also because it's a rehearsal space. Originally they were going to place it just behind the crown towards Matrimandia, but it was felt that actually this would be a more appropriate location for rehearsal. Whereas if money comes for a proper music auditorium or a theatre auditorium, the likelihood is that will actually come to the other side of the crown, obviously within the cultural zone.
Even though Auroville has been in existence for 40 years, the development of the cultural zone for the artists, I feel, is still at the very beginning stages. So with Kripa, it becomes possible to begin to develop a facility for the performing arts. And what can come out of such a place can be something very, very wonderful. So I'm hoping that Kripa will be that energy point, that place where musicians and actors and dancers and designers and lighting people can come together over a cup of coffee and sit and talk about their projects and what are you doing, what am I doing, and how can we work together and inspire each other and be together. Because right now, people are working in isolation. Being here, being in Auroville is very inspiring. There's no place else in the world like it. And our circumstances are unique. And so when we create here, the product of our creation is influenced and shaped and formed by who we are as Aurovillians.
As envisaged by the mother, the primary aim of the international zone is to help individuals in becoming aware of the fundamental genius of the nation to which they belong.
Et un sourire, ça me fait penser à des oiseaux. C'est comme si ça volait tellement c'est doux et léger. Ça pourrait être une photo d'oiseau.
Pavilions are embodiments of each nation's search for its soul and true place in the world in terms of its architecture, education, culture, and research. At the same time, the purpose is to respect equally the true spirit of all the countries of the world. While only the Indian and the Tibetan pavilions are completed, others such as the USA pavilion are at the beginning stage.
Prices are going up like crazy.
The Students' Guest House facility is conceived as the first building of the USA pavilion where educational programs are organized from time to time.
People have to drive this far to get to their job.
I personally feel that one of the themes that can be taken up, not culture as entertainment, but culture as a celebration of the faculties of man and transmission of the higher to the lower. I think one of the projects that you can take up and which can flourish both in India and in the West, in Europe particularly, I think it will be a wonderful idea. In fact, we can have a European pavilion here in Auroville, and the whole focus can be on this subject. The culture, diversities of culture, their specialities and their combinations and their contribution to the world. Well, these are the thoughts which come to my mind now, which I thought I can share with you.
CSR is situated within Auroshilpam, which is the industrial zone of Auroville. Activities of CSR concentrate on developing and implementing sustainable technologies.
What we are trying out actually is a new device which is called a vortex system and which replaces a much older system for treating wastewater. At the end, we will use the water which is used within the building and in the toilets and in the kitchen, clean it properly, treat it fully and use it for curing purposes. Proper use of natural resources.
Remy, a French autodidact inventor, is doing research on solar energy under the umbrella of the CSR.
Alors, on cherche à concentrer l'énergie solaire avec des miroirs sur un nouveau type de moteur. Alors, le concentrateur que l'on expérimente actuellement se compose de deux miroirs. Il y a deux concentrateurs en fait. Un premier concentrateur qui concentre dans un sens et un second concentrateur qui concentre perpendiculairement. Et ce qui est intéressant dans ce dispositif, c'est que les concentrations se multiplient. Si on a une concentration 10 d'un côté et une concentration 10 de l'autre, au final, au foyer, on va avoir une concentration de 100. C'est le principe de fonctionnement de ce concentrateur.
Also situated at Auroshilpam is Auromode, a unit dedicated to manufacture and export garments and jewelry. It is a workshop which is divided into several units. Auromode serves many purposes. Its main role is to provide employment to villagers as well as to give Aurovillians a possibility with an ambience where they can be creative and give the service to Auroville.
On essaye de créer un environnement qui est harmonieux, où la beauté compte. Et je me suis aperçu que cette beauté peut influencer aussi sur la conscience des ouvriers. Même si les gens ne se rendent pas compte, le fait de vivre dans un bel environnement aide beaucoup, je crois. Et là, j'ai développé avec Préma tous les handicrafts, en particulier la peinture sur soie.
Donc la peinture sur soie, ça a beaucoup développé dans les dernières années. Ça a commencé comme un atelier très petit avec 2 métiers. Et petit à petit, c'est devenu un atelier de 70 personnes avec 14 ou 16 métiers qui arrivent à produire plus de 2 ou 3 000 pièces de peinture sur soie par mois. Tout ça avec des pigments considérés éco-friendly. On peut dire qu'on a trouvé ici, parmi les villageois, des peintres d'une qualité exceptionnelle. À chaque fois, c'est un défi, à chaque jour, c'est un défi, parce qu'il faut qu'on fasse des fois des commandes de 300 pièces ou 400 pièces, toutes pareilles, mais faites à la main. On y arrive avec beaucoup de travail, beaucoup de patience et surtout beaucoup de savoir-faire de la part des villageois qui sont engagés dans ce travail.
Auromode thus fuels to the economic growth of Auroville. From the profit of this enterprise, a minimum of 33% is contributed to the common fund of Auroville. Rest of the funds are used for giving salaries, buying raw materials, management of the workforce, as well as maintaining the aesthetics of the building and the surrounding garden.
On a des Aurovilliens qui travaillent avec nous. Il y a aussi un bureau d'architecture que j'essaye d'agrandir, faire plus de projets pour Auroville et pour l'extérieur. En harmonie avec l'idéal d'Auroville. Sinon, ça ne m'intéresse pas. C'est-à-dire avec un esprit de fraternité, d'essayer de travailler sur cette nouvelle conscience de fraternité et de, je sais pas comment dire, d'harmonie, d'unité, oui. Et ça, je voudrais vraiment que ça réussisse.
Housing is a big problem because up till now housing was totally dependent on individual contributions. I mean, I think 90%, almost 100% of the houses here have been built by individuals putting in their own funds.
Bien sûr, tout le monde pensait que c'était impossible de pouvoir faire un immeuble uniquement avec des donations. Donc c'est vrai que j'appelle souvent ça une utopie dans l'utopie de Auroville. Et comme je suis, comme disait mon ami Roger, optimiste par pathologie, j'ai toujours cru que c'était possible. Il y a eu beaucoup de résistance avant que ça vienne, mais finalement c'est arrivé au meilleur endroit possible. Et donc on a trouvé à travers des donations les fonds qui ne sont pas encore complets pour faire cette opération de 3000 mètres carrés.
Ce qui est intéressant dans ce projet, c'est que les appartements seront gratuits. Les Aurovilliens qui vont s'installer dans la citadine n'ont pas à payer.
Citadine is more than an apartment building. You know, it was not just designing a residential project for me. It was more than that. It was like a social experiment, and I had to interact with the clients, the entire group, for many meetings to be able to understand what I have to start with.
Eh bien, il y a à gérer aussi la demande immense qu'il y a, surtout quand c'est des logements qui sont donnés gratuitement, à gérer les difficultés techniques et de gestion du personnel général, puisqu'on a une entreprise extérieure de Madras qui fait le gros œuvre, et on a des entreprises locales pour la peinture, pour l'électricité, pour la menuiserie et l'aluminium.
Il y a eu quelques anciens Aurovilliens qui immédiatement ils ont voulu joindre le projet, qui ont été intéressés. Et donc ces anciens Aurovilliens qui ont un endroit où ils habitent actuellement, ils vont laisser cet endroit pour quelqu'un d'autre, donc ça fait un échange, non? Ça fait circuler la matière.
Ce que je voudrais dire, c'est que vraiment mon souhait profond, c'est que maire puisse envoyer tous les fonds nécessaires pour construire toute la ville comme ça. L'humanité a besoin d'une expérience comme Auroville, donc elle doit pouvoir financer.
Then the walls are made with thick Aerocon blocks, which are 40 cm wide than the normal conventional 23 cm brick walls. So Aerocon blocks have this capacity to reduce sound as well as act as thermal insulators. So those were little expensive, but we wanted to invest in that to make sure that the interiors are comfortable and noise free.
Donc on essaye de faire beau et simple et de donner surtout un maximum de communauté. On a essayé de faire, comme vous voyez dans le studio témoin, le maximum d'ouverture pour qu'il y ait de la ventilation. Il y a quand même des ventilateurs. Donc j'espère beaucoup qu'on puisse, pour les prochaines phases, ne pas faire 3000 mètres carrés comme là, mais faire 15 000 mètres carrés, c'est-à-dire faire 150 appartements, pour vraiment résoudre le problème des logements et surtout accueillir le plus rapidement possible des nouveaux venus pour qu'ils puissent participer à cette expérience fabuleuse qu'est Auroville.
The green belt encircles the city area and comprises of farms, village settlements, lush green forests and recreational areas. The green belt is a rich laboratory for sustainable development practices.
So right now we are into protecting the place, of course, checking the fences, making sure the cows don't come in, trying to find the traps which some people have put and destroy them if possible. Of course, interplanting is happening right now with tropically dry evergreen species. The small trees have to be cut free from the stragglers which already start getting them, and of course they would kill them. So this is what you really have to do. So once our small trees are big enough, the cashew tree has a short lifespan and it will collapse. we have just to cut free the spaces for the small trees that they can grow big. And then we have a lot of mulch and good new topsoil for the new trees to grow big. So win-win situation. Still the area it's pretty protected, it's much better, it has improved a lot, but still it's not 100%, so we are working towards it, and we really want to try to develop this area into a nature preserve, try to make animals comfortable, and latest addition is spotted deer, which has arrived on its own. We are on the lower part of the Auroville plateau, so here we have a lot of canyons, and what we are trying to do here is to plant as many trees as possible to prevent more erosion, to keep the rainwater basically where it is falling. So this here implies a lot of step work with a lot of bunds, that the canyon just doesn't get bigger than it is already. And of course some stuff is planted, which helps the rainwater percolate into the ground. I would say at least a third of Auroville's rainwater is landing up here, so you have to be prepared for extreme situations like 100 centimeters of rain in 24 hours, which happened 1943. So our green workers are really a down-to-earth bunch, which they're always in good spirits, pretty much, I would say. Because if you work on the land, there's so much good energy, so eventually it gets you, so there's no chance to stay moody. Of course, you have to work very hard, and it's nice to work with your own hands. It's beautiful to plant trees. It really does something to you, and I can only recommend it for everybody. Just go ahead, plant trees. It's really beautiful. Just to see them growing also. Take care of the trees too. Don't just plant them, and plant them with feeling, with love. That's what they deserve, and that's what they give you back also.
Located at north in the green belt of Auroville, Discipline is a mixed farm where dairy, fruits and vegetables are the main products. The dairy provides milk and also manure for compost.
Yes, we do mixed farming, which means that we do vegetables, fruit and dairy, and sometimes we do field crops. We have many fruit, which includes chiku, mango, banana, papaya, soursop. The main fruit we have is papaya.
3 Aurovillians work in Discipline. The farm also employs villagers and provide work opportunity to international volunteers to give their services, as Karl, a young German volunteer who will be here for a whole year.
Yes, it's organically grown. We don't use any chemical pesticides or any chemical fertilizers. We use homemade compost, also vermicompost. We use the EM as for the health of the plants. That's all. Yes, this gets distributed to the Solar Kitchen and to New Portus and Portus Aspiration. And we also take some of the fruit for food processing. We make jam and dried fruits.
I think a basic trust in the divine is required, because otherwise there is no need to be here for us. If you don't believe, I believe very strongly that this experiment would not exist if it would depend only on us. And anyway, Mother has said very clearly, despite the Aurovillians, Auroville will be built, so that's our grace, saving grace here anyway. But I think if we would have more of this basic trust, many things would be possible.